At dinner, Mom said, "You should sell your house. Your sister's baby needs space." Dad nodded. "Family comes first. Don't be selfish." That night, I transferred everything into a private trust and cut their access to every account they'd been living off. By sunrise, they opened the next family invitation and froze when they read what I'd written. "Sell your house, Elijah," Mom said, tapping her fork against her glass. "Your sister's baby needs more space." Dad didn't even look up. "Family comes first, son. Don't be selfish." The dining room smelled like garlic butter and tension. Sophie smiled across the table, the same smirk she wore when she got what she wanted. I set my fork down. "You're serious?" Mom nodded. "You'll get another house. You're good with money. Sophie's struggling." I wanted to laugh. Struggling? She was wearing a new gold bracelet and had a brand new iPhone on the table. I said quietly, "You want me to give her the home I worked for because she's bad with hers?" Dad sighed. "We raised you better than this." I stood up slowly. "Maybe you didn't." The chair scraped against the floor. I walked out before they could answer. Upstairs, I logged into my account. Everything I owned, savings, house deed, investments, transferred into a private trust. My name only. By morning, they'd realized the one person they'd been living off had finally gone quiet. "My name's Elijah Dane, 27 quiet type, calculated, the one they underestimate every single time." I used to believe silence meant peace, that not fighting back meant maturity. But silence can also be how people erase you, one guilt trip at a time. When Dad's business fell apart, I bailed him out. When Mom's medical bills piled, I paid. When Sophie overdrafted 6 times, I covered it. They said thank you like they were doing me a favor by accepting my help. It took me years to realize I wasn't helping family. I was feeding a habit. There's something I never told them, a truth buried under all those family-first speeches. And tonight, it's coming up for air. Dad, Richard Dane, 58, loud, proud, and allergic to accountability. Mom, Marlene, 55, the peacemaker who stirs the pot quietly. Sister, Sophie, 30, beautiful, spoiled, and permanently in crisis. Dinner was always a performance. Dad played the martyr. Mom cried on cue. Sophie played the victim. I played the ghost. But that night, Mom broke script. "If only you hadn't taken what wasn't yours," she whispered. The air went still. Forks froze midair. I looked up. "What does that mean?" She didn't answer. Sophie smirked like she already knew. And right there, I realized this wasn't about my house. It never was. It was about control. The next day, I went back to their house. Dad was fixing the porch light, pretending not to see me. Inside, Mom sat clutching a folder like it was a weapon. "The house," she said quietly. "It was supposed to be Sophie's." I blinked. "You mean the one I bought? The one you begged me to get because her credit was trash?" Mom looked away. "We only wanted fairness." "Fairness?" I said. "I paid your mortgage, your debts, your hospital bills. What's fair about that?" Her voice wavered. "You've always had more." That hit me harder than it should have. I didn't have more. I worked harder. I gave up things they never even saw. Then I noticed the folder, my name scribbled on old bank papers. Something about it felt off. "What's that?" I asked. "Nothing you need to worry about," she said, too fast. And just like that, I knew this fight wasn't new. It was inherited. By Saturday, the whole family was gathering to talk things out. Translation, an ambush. Sophie showed up late, pretending to cry. Mom brought pie. Dad brought judgment. "You've become selfish," Dad said as soon as I walked in. "Everything's about money with you." "Funny," I said. "That's exactly what you keep asking for." Sophie slammed her glass down. "You think you're better than us." I leaned forward. "No, I just stopped letting you use me." Mom's eyes filled with tears. "Don't talk like that, Elijah. We're your family." I stared at her, this woman who once told me, "You're the strong one. You can handle it." I handled it, I said. All of it. And you kept taking. Dad's face flushed. You ungrateful. I raised a hand calmly. I'm not angry, just awake. The silence that followed felt heavy, like everyone realized the quiet one wasn't quiet anymore. I was 19. Dad's company tanked. We were drowning. He said the accountant made a mistake, but I found the receipts, money funneled into Sophie's account. She'd spent thousands on emergency shopping. Dad covered for her, told the bank it was a system glitch. Mom called me selfish for questioning it. I sold my car, dropped out of college, and took 2 jobs to help. Sophie posted vacation pictures that same month. When I confronted her, she smiled. Don't be dramatic, Ludge. Family helps each other. That sentence stuck with me. Every time they used me, every time they lied, I heard it again, like a curse disguised as care. I pulled the truth from that same folder Mom hid. Forged loan documents, fake signatures, false transfers in my name. They'd been using my credit to hide their mess for years. I gathered everything into a file, labeled it Legacy. When we sat down that night, I placed it on the table. What's this? Dad asked. Everything you didn't want me to find. Mom's face turned white. Sophie's hand shook. You wouldn't, she whispered. I already did, I said. They learned the trust was real. The accounts were sealed. The lawyer was already notified. You locked us out of everything? Dad barked. Yes, I said. For once, I'm protecting myself. Mom began to sob. We were just trying to protect the family. No, I said softly. You were trying to protect the lie that I'd never fight back. The house erupted, Dad shouting, Sophie screaming, Mom begging for peace. I didn't move. It was like watching a storm from behind glass. Sophie pointed at me. You've ruined everything. You think you're some kind of hero? No, I said calmly. I'm just done being your villain. Mom's voice cracked. Elijah, please, we're family. I met her eyes. Then you should have acted like it. I stood, slow and deliberate. For years, I gave you everything. My money, my time, my silence. You called it love. It was survival. Dad's voice lowered. You can't just walk away from blood. I smiled faintly. Watch me. Then I slid an envelope across the table. Gold embossed, simple. Mom looked confused. What's this? An invitation, I said. Thanksgiving dinner, my house. You're welcome to come, if you can look me in the eye. The envelope was empty, because the invitation wasn't real. It was a reminder of the space between us that they'd created. I walked out into the night. The cool air felt cleaner than it had in years. Behind me, their voices blurred into noise. For days, my phone buzzed nonstop. Missed calls, messages, then silence. I thought that would hurt. It didn't. It just felt quiet. Honest. Weeks passed. Sophie's accounts froze. She couldn't access a dime. Dad's retirement fund? Gone. It had been under my name for tax safety. Mom pawned her jewelry, then called me crying. Elijah, please, she said softly. We didn't mean to hurt you. You just did it anyway, I replied. She sniffled. Can't we start over? I took a breath. You can. I already did. That night, I sat in my empty kitchen, laptop open, lights dim. For the first time, I wasn't checking anyone else's account, just mine. Freedom looked like a simple balance screen with one name, mine, and that was enough. Months later, I drove past their house. The paint was chipped. The mailbox hung open. Dad sat on the porch, smaller somehow. Sophie's car was gone. I didn't stop, but part of me wanted to. Some nights, I still hear Mom's voice. Family comes first. And I think, maybe that's true. If family ever acted like it, I'm not angry anymore, just lighter. I don't hate them. I just stopped needing them. I keep the old invitation framed on my desk now, the blank one I gave them, to remind myself, not every silence means weakness. Sometimes it means peace. The final line I wrote inside that frame says, "I forgive you, but I don't return." And maybe that's the most honest kind of love there is. If you were in Elijah's place, would you forgive them? Or would you finally walk away too? Tell me your thoughts in the comments. Your story matters here. Like if Elijah's silence spoke to you. Subscribe for more real stories about pain, strength, and quiet revenge, because sometimes the loudest revenge is finally living in peace.